to a YouTube.
Did I want a public, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it's good. It's showing live.
How do I mute this? Because I just heard.
You have YouTube probably opened up on your screen.
Yep.
And just mute the YouTube.
Well, you're gone now.
Just mute the YouTube stream on the YouTube that came up.
All right, cool. I wasn't sure if I needed to.
I think you can even X out of it. Good work.
Just clicking a couple buttons.
All right, I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Cool. All right, what's up, guys? We'll get this started in a couple minutes here. Get the chat up too.
All right, can you guys hear me? I just flipped over to my AirPods. I'm not sure.
Sound good, Jay?
Cool. All right. All right, we'll give it like 3 minutes. We'll give it to 5:10, and we'll get going. All right. Going going in a second. Hope everybody had a great weekend so far. So I'll be honest, I have not really gotten a chance to go over much. So if you guys have tickers, go ahead and put them in. Otherwise, we can just kind of live stream me going through charts to see what I see. Get this party started, I guess. Of course, PLTR Hunt. Awesome. All right, guys, what's up? It's JCat. Sunday, December 10th. Or I'm sorry, December 10th, October 10th. Jeez. Been a long weekend. Columbus Day tomorrow, I believe, or whatever day that the banks get off tomorrow. But it is markets are open, so really doesn't make any difference. I know my kids are off school tomorrow, so that should be fun. But let me start sharing. And I don't have my second monitor with me today, so can I get a 1 in the chat if you guys can see my Thinkorswim? Perfect, thank you, Fab. All right, so here's SPX. Well, here is SPX. Basically, just keep moving up. Now, a couple weeks ago or so, this big trend line was violated, so we're basically kind of in no man's land here. Haven't really died. Yes, I know we lost 150 some odd points, almost 200 points since we broke the trend line, but looks like we found a little base here on the 100-day. So we finally broke above this gravestone. This day really looked like we were going to keep going, but we had this gravestone closed right at the 20-day, which is this kind of bluish one. And on Friday we closed. Looked like we opened above it. Looked like we were going to get some momentum to keep going, but we ended up closing beneath. So we got a gap to fill down here, and we've also got the screen line here, which is the 50-day up here. So we're really just going to ping pong. It looks like we're just ping ponging in between these two, more than likely. But earnings start this week, so this will get our catalyst to move a direction. I believe a bunch of banks are reporting this week. JP Morgan is on the 13th. If I remember correctly, Goldman is, Goldman on the 15th. Bank on the 14th. So banks kicking us off with earnings. So that's a hard predictor. Banks moving up means money coming out of tech and growth and these growth stocks that we love to play. So could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but if banks are making money, the economy should be making money, which in turn we would start to lean towards some upward movement on the SPX. So it's all about earnings now. This chart. Well, this chart is just saying we're going to ping pong, but if earnings are good, we could bust out easily above the 50-day. We take out the 50-day, we're looking at all-time highs again. 50-day is what, 44.38. Next real resistance won't come until 84, and then we've got 45.50, next on tap from there. So it really is, again, just all about earnings now. Qs are kind of look the same way. found a base on the 100-day, and gravestone again, and another bad day on Friday. So the cues look basically the same, except for the 20-day. We're still beneath the 20-day here, so that's going to start. It's going to play as resistance, and then we've got the 50-day above it there, so that's going to play resistance. But earnings are good. If people feeling good about the economy and about this past earnings season, then we could really move up. Now we start moving down. Sorry, my cues chart is kind of sloppy. We start moving down. 350 is going to be our next support, and that kind of will coincide with this big trend line that's been holding everything up. If we bust that through 350, then next we've got 342, which should coincide right with 100 or the 200-day. This is going to be a little bit of support here, 335, and then we've got this big volume shelf here down here at 320. So not saying that we're going to have a 40-point move, but these are our levels that we're going to have to watch if the market starts to break down. So let me get back to the chat here, and I'll just start with you guys. Han, since you were first, we'll go play Dave and Buster's, right? Yeah, Dave and Buster's. Looked like it was building a nice flag until Friday. So, your volume pattern here isn't great here to sustain, a true flag. But, when you don't have the volume, then I guess you call these wedges. So we had this going on, and it looked like it picked its direction. Found, it sliced through the 200-day, sliced through the 20-day, came all the way down to the 100-day. So it's got to make a decision here. Is it gonna hold and bounce, or is it gonna hold and die, or is it just gonna die altogether? So, looking at these kind of patterns here where it's just moved straight up and died, came back up and died, move up and died, I'm just got to read in the tea leaves here. I would expect this to keep going. We probably are going to see 36 and a half, depending on where the 50-day shakes out by the time it gets there. Could be 37, but just kind of looking at that, there's this wedge chose its direction, and it's choosing down right now. See if we can just go out to the weekly, see if there's anything else there. Yeah, so the weekly looks a little better if you've got a bullish thesis on it. It's basically needs to break through this trend line now. So this is a bad week for it, right? Last week. So got the 20-week average, 50-week average, 200-week average. It's all sitting basically right on it. So if we go back to the daily, that's 38-ish, 36 and a half. The dailies are probably going to line up to those too. 38 and a half on the 20, 36 and a half on the 50. So weekly, it does look a little better. It's just a big run up, kind of build this pennant down. And, if it can kind of play this out, we're looking at something that could really spike it up. But you're probably going to see a little bit of pain, because this is the weeklies. So you're probably going to see a little bit of pain and see it drop back down into the 35s, maybe even down to the bottom of the channel and into the 32s, 33s, before we get another, the next leg up based off of this weekly chart. So, depending on your time frame here, could be, you could get some downward movement for a few weeks before it moves up. So if you got a longer term play, I would be bullish, but in the shorter term, in terms of like a smaller swings, I would definitely lean towards the bear side on this. Towards the rubber channel, short-term play downside, just wait till. Yep, exactly. All right, PLTR. What are we on? The daily. I mean, I don't know. Pick your poison on it. More news could come out and it takes off, or it just kind of keeps doing what it's doing and just farting in between these two lines. So honestly, my guess here in the short term is it's going to play this little flag that it's this bear flag that we got here. You know, long term, I'm very much bullish on PLTR, but short term, I mean, we got at a double top here at this value at high. That really just died once it broke through the neckline. You know, it's not exact, but all it did was flag back to the 50-day and the 200-day. That was that big day that they got the contract from the Army. So, you know, we got that big gap up and it died, and I know the market died with it, but that didn't get any help. But, you know, it gapped right up to the 50-day and 200-day, stopped there, came back down. Now it can't even get anywhere close to back to into this $25 area. So my short-term thesis on PLTR is very much bearish, and I'd say we're probably looking, you know, into the 2021s here before we can start to see anything move up. You know, like I said, long term, I'm very much bullish on PLTR, but it's got to figure out what it wants to do between this 20 and 30 here, and that's all this is. And, you know, really this is so range bound. You could go long anytime it gets around into the 20s and probably sell it a few weeks later, a month later, in the 30s, and then just start taking it short at 30, 28, 29, 30, and ride it back down until it really decides where it wants to go. Let's zoom out a little bit on it. And yeah, I mean, it's just the same thing. Everything, it's all about between 20 and 30. CCXI, everybody's big one right now. I mean, it did that. Now we see what it does after this. You know, obviously this is very bullish. Broke out of this, you know, base it was building here on this gap. Basically, once it got over the gap, it got over once, dipped beneath, got back over again, dipped back to it, got back over again, and now it, you know, held it and took off. So it all just depends on how it plays out after this, right? My ideal situation is we see something flag back to around 35, and then we get the next leg up. But this could just keep going too. You know, this has, I don't remember the catalyst on this, I mean, but this has potential to just take off tomorrow. So, you know, I would definitely be looking at this for the rest of the week, for the next couple of weeks, really, as a, you know, something to day trade, as well as something to wait for it and set up for the next, you know, big move. We've got, you know, from here, you know, 45 as resistance. Next resistance, let's see if I can get some more dates on this. Nope. You know, 45, 50, it's probably just going to go stair step up $5. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little bit, and natural whole number resistance. 60. I mean, yeah, it's just going to stair step up every $5 from here. So 45 though is going to be the next one. Once it breaks through that, it can, it's probably going to do something like this, where it's going to hit one of these resistance, come back to the next one, then blaze through it, come back to that top one, blaze, and then eventually go through. So I like this basically on all time frames, in terms of being able to day trade it, as well as letting this one set up for what could be a 40 to 70, 50% run, 75% run. Like it enough to add that. Oh, price upgrade. Okay. Yeah, which makes sense. So now a lot of people are going to try and get in. So we're going to have all these people here though. So we've got all these people here that were buying in on this base, waiting for basically this news, these price upgrades and whatever else that they probably announced, products and whatnot in this time. So, we've got a nice base of support, not necessarily just at this price action, but people that are going to be very much keen to keep this, keep this move going. They've got, let's say average bought around $15. In one day, you made 25. You made $25. You 1.5 times your investment on your shares. So there's also going to be a lot of fresh buyers that missed this move that now want to get in on this move. So 45 is going to work as a pretty good resistance because you have a lot of sellers here too, so you're going to have all these people that were shorting all the way down, as well as all these people that were shorting this, shorting on this candle on their earnings miss. So, we're going to see a bit of a battle here, but I'd like to see a nice little flag out back to 35 ideally, and then, probably, a nice $10 run probably pretty quickly. Yeah, that's the other meme-ish stock. So IPO'd in August. Nice run up to 18.
So this is an Atlas pump. So,
yeah, this was the Atlas pump, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Zach Morris was on it about a month and a half ago at like $4. Well, actually, right when it IPO'd, and that's when I first heard about it. He was on like a space at like $4, and then it just pumped like the Atlas way. So it's a chat provider. Think what's that fucking super encrypted one?
He's Mr. Zach Morris.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that? Not Telegram, but
yeah, Telegram to my mind too, with an S, right? Fuck.
Signal.
Yeah, it's just like Signal for the most part.
Yeah, so this is probably an actual business here. It's hard to pump IPOs typically. IPO companies don't want to be pumped because they're just coming out. Their businesses, they need to make they need to look legitimate, at least within your first 3 months, So maybe this is one that Mr. Zach actually did research on. But you can see here, triple tap breakout, tap 2, tap 3, small little consolidation, and then it got this nice run. So, 9 to 19 in 5 days, 6 days, 100%. 110%, that's a huge run, and it's got to digest it. And especially if you got now chat rooms on it, probably a lot of people just don't want to be in it because of that. So you get this move back here, but all it did was come right back to the breakout level, and now it bounced. So this is kind of like CCXI in the sense of you could probably play this. It's probably going to be a better day trader than a swinger for right now. Got this big candle. Now we want to see what it's going to do. Do we get a day 2? Could happen. I mean, it's got a history of running, you know, for multiple days. So we could get a day 2 up into $13, $14 area. And then, you know, hopefully it builds an actual flag, and that will show great support or great strength for a stock like this. I see that. I see what you're saying, Fab, but this is the trend, you know, like it's been going up, up and up and up. You know, it had these pretty bad days, which I particularly don't like, but that's a shitload of volume. That's a ton of volume to push for this move. So it gives it kind of more credence that we could have another day. It pushed all the way up, almost closed at high of the day. And yeah, Haas, yeah, it is at 1273 after hours. But you know, like high of the day, you know, you see stocks close at high a day after a move like this on volume like this, it's probably going to keep going. If you have time and you've got actual charts that you want to go over.
Yeah, I have a couple. I'll take it over.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to give it up. Yep. I just wasn't sure when you were up.
Yep, I'm ready. Give me 1 second to pull it up. All right. Can you guys see it? So yep. I know Jay went over SPX and everything, so I don't really need to go over like that like I normally do. One thing I will say, about midweek last week, I said when we started getting some bullish momentum on SPYs and everything, I said that I really wanted a daily close over 440 for us to remain bullish and like maybe even start thinking about a couple day swings or weekly swings. That still holds right now. I still want a daily close over 440. Until that point, I'm not taking anything longer than maybe an overnight swing, depending on momentum there. But I kind of had said from the beginning of September that I didn't want to swing any calls overnight until we kind of had this out of our system. And every time I swung a call overnight, I got smacked. So I should have stuck to that plan. Now, short of that, it does feel like we might be turning the corner. The only thing is we have monthly expiration this week. So most of the monthly expirations have ended up at least red on Fridays, since I went back and checked every Friday for the past 3 months just the other night. And August was the only monthly expiration that didn't finish red on Friday and even Thursday, I think it was. So I'm going to go back and check those weeks tonight too and verify what the week did. But overall, I feel kind of bullish. The first thing I'm looking at is Boeing here. Kind of broke out of the downward trend here, got through, stayed above the trend line even Thursday and Friday. Over 229, I think I'm looking for calls for this to run up. The weekly gave us an inside bar as well. A little messy, but it's there. Inside bar, doji, more like dragonfly-ish. So I'd like to see more momentum coming through here. The weekly feels good. Daily I like. So now we just need to get maybe like a 5 or 15-minute close above 229. Let's run it up to 234. That's a good, easy scalp play for us or day trade. Next one, Microsoft. And just like SPY kind of sitting in no man's land, Microsoft's in the same spot, but I really like the position of this for us to have multiple opportunities, either one way or the other. If SPY decides to give us a red week, easily the break of 293.75 pretty much, we can ride our puts down and basically take out this candle, these two pivots, and should be fairly easy money if it breaks down to the downside. And then upside, we're looking the same. We basically filled these small little gaps that we had here. I think we're just like a couple pennies off. So to the upside, we can get over 296.65 and we can try to push that 300 area again. Again, should be a nice, decent play. We got the 9 curling up, and maybe even if we get a little bit sideways action in this gold zone, we'll get the 9 catching up to the 20 where we get a break and get some momentum to actually push the SPY up as well. AMD. I saw Tommy said he's looking at AMD. I am too. I hate this ticker. I lose on it all the time, but it is in a decent spot. It gave us a nice inside bar on the daily. And then I believe the weekly looks pretty good too. With these rangy bars, that's technically an inside bar on the weekly. So it's kind of sitting in a spot where it still wants to make up its mind a little bit. But if you want to be super risky, you can kind of get in off the high of Friday at 107.28. But I'm going to play a little safe because I get smacked by AMD so much. And I'm going to wait to over 108.45. Get over this range and we can start pushing higher again. And then for the downside, anything under 104.50, we can start probably taking out $1.50 at a time for puts. I'll probably get back to this week, depending on the market action. Any puts, I'll be kind of getting out of them faster versus with the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been holding puts longer just because we knew we were kind of in a bearish market in the short term and we could kind of let it pluck through some downside price targets. But since it feels like we might be turning the corner here, I might be getting out of puts a little earlier, just so if any of these are fake outs and start reversing to the upside again, we're on the right side of it. Next one, Twitter, another great. So this is probably one of my favorite when I'm looking at inside bars. I like to see inside bars that look like this. I want to see like a large engulfing candle, whether up or down. And then I want to see a smaller inside bar, preferably a doji, but this one works too, where it's in the upper 50% of the large candle before. And this gives us a good opportunity for the upside or downside. And then this is just in a good spot in the chart overall, because our next real resistances that we want to take out are pretty well defined and pivots. And same thing, we have the gap below that large engulfing candle. So if we lose the low of Friday, then we have pretty well defined risk rewards here. You'll notice that when I pick out inside bars, a large percent of them will look like this, or with your candle on the lower 50% of the inside bar. And they tend to give us the quickest, easiest moves. Let's see what the weekly looks like for this. I think this was a good weekly too overall. Not great, but it's there. It has some good support coming here, which pushes it up. We see all these wicks coming. Hopefully it makes a move to the upside here. And then those are the 4 that I'm mainly watching. I know I go through my stuff pretty fast. I'll do some write-ups on them. Is there anything else? Facebook players. I'll look at Facebook for you real fast, Coach.
I'm pretty sure I just saw T jump in here.
Okay, we'll get T on then after this too. So Facebook, just like SPYs, gave us kind of an inside bar. This is got a little out of the range, but it's nothing crazy. It has a bear flag feel to it on the daily. You could easily play this on the break of the low of Friday, Coach, for this week's expiration for puts, which we'll fucking just line it up real fast. So there's one. Let's put the gold there. So break of 328.71 pretty much. And then you just look to take out these pivots. So 325.96 down to 322.72, and from there down to 316. So I'll put definitely a play there. What would invalidate you is basically any candle close over 333.40. You'll wait. So basically you wait for these lines to break. If you just jump in right off the bat and we're in this 330 range and we're just bouncing, it can rip either side. And especially with us being in this kind of limbo of the market where we might have turned a corner and start continuing up, we don't want to be on the wrong side of just guessing here, because Facebook holds a large portion of the SPYs as well. So just something to think about. Netflix, I looked at Netflix. It's still in a range for me that I want to see it break out. So we had this inside bar on Wednesday, which is, like I said, is one of my favorite setups, where you see how we have this large kind of engulfing candle and then the inside bar is in the upper 50%. So I'm waiting for it to break out. And if we can get over this 640 and actually hold, which you see that we didn't, we opened up over it on Thursday and crashed through. And then we tried to get through it again on Friday and couldn't quite get through it. If we can get a decent close, let's see what the 15-minute looks. Did we get some good 15-minute closes there anywhere? Not really. I mean, that would have faked you out, but it was early in the day, right? And then, yeah, nothing really gave us what we would have wanted for the breaks. That was probably the closest to a fake out. So if we can get a nice 10, 15-minute bar, a couple of them, over the 640, I think we can really run for that next leg up. I like Netflix. I should probably actually put this on the list too, just because it's still inside my thing. I still have my alerts for that 640 break. So that's probably why I didn't put on my list here, because it's already set up. Same thing with AMC. It gave us the inside bar as well, and it kind of looks like it came down, found its bottom, made a higher low here. We haven't quite made a higher high, so maybe we try to do that this week. And so over 38.78, similar thing that I already had alerts for these, so I just wanted to stay. I didn't really put them on my list because we'd be seeing these alerts come in anyway. So I just covered Netflix, and then let's look at Nike real fast, and then we'll see if T wants to get into anything in particular. Nike, nice little reversal. Came down to 200, bounced. Now crossed the 9, stayed, and basically got held down right by the 20. It closed right at the 20, it looks like. So let's get back over the 20. That's a nice inside bar too. So if you want to play the same style, you wait for the break of Friday's high, or the break of the low to play. This one you have space because you have this gap. We're kind of into the gap at this point and play it up. So you have a good $6 gap here from this gap down. That could be a decent play for sure. You could look at these being kind of pivot spots for you. So from this spot, basically get over the high of Friday for the most part, 153.40-ish. Your safe play is the high of Thursday, which is 153.66. And you can take it up to both the bottom and tops of these pivots. Boom 1 and boom 2. This probably is a good one for people to put on their list too. If anything, just to watch how these inside bars play out. Since it's bottom of trend, we would think that we're still bullish. We're at a gap. Kind of covers everything if you want to just sit there and watch and kind of learn how some charts move. I'd be very interested about this, how it plays through this gap. All right. T, I know you popped in. Are you looking to share anything? If not, we can keep.
Yeah, I could run through one or two. I don't mind.
All right. Let me give you host, T, and you take it on, my man.
Okay.
It's not letting me make you host.
Maybe because I'm host. Hold on.
Maybe. You might have to do it, yeah. There you go. And I'll stop my share, and it's all you, T.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay. Just give me a minute. Just trying to pull something up. Let me know if you can see my screen.
I see it, T.
Yep.
Perfect. So I'm not really looking at anything new. Most of the things I'm looking at are continuations of the plays I already called last week, just to get my idea of where they could go to. So the first one, one of the ones I called was Upwork, and I know I talked about this on the call, the session we had yesterday. So this is Upwork daily, Upwork 15 minutes, just for tomorrow. But on the daily, which I would expand a little bit because I know it's really tiny. I've just been tracing it, so we've had a couple of lower highs all this way. We've had our higher low because it dropped from here to here, so that was our higher low, but we had a reversal here of our first higher high. So I'm seeing a continuation pattern here. This was the break line. We've broken past it. This was our this is my fib, so we've broken past that. So I see that this could run up to $60 eventually, and then probably some more. The eventual target is 64, but I've got 60 as my initial target for this one. And on the 15 minutes, I was just tracking it as well, so that for tomorrow, I already know what I'm looking for on the daily, and tomorrow I'm just using this to play intraday, if it starts running tomorrow. So this is what the 15-minute chart looks like. We've crossed the midpoint in this, dropped back a little bit, and so like I said, I'm just tracking this one to see what it does. But on the daily, it's definitely we're definitely in a bullish spot because we've had our first higher high after this downtrend. We've had a couple of lower highs, but this is our first higher high after this spot. So we're in a good spot, we're in a good place with this one. So I'm eager to see how this continues this week. Like I said, price target 64. We'll take profit eventually around $60 if it moves. That's the first one. I know you guys have been nailing Affirm. I've been playing it a little bit on the side as well, making some little change here and there, and just trying to see, okay, what's likely to happen for Affirm as well. On the daily, Affirm has had a couple of lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and we've had our higher highs as well. So it's just to see if it continues at this point. That's all we can look for in Affirm. It's just to see that continuation pattern. If we have it, if it keeps going the way it's going, then I have 168 here. It's not going to happen immediately, but we're waiting to see that continuation pattern. And like you guys know, this is what it's not a pure tree. It's not a pure tree bar play, but it's what we look for if you just go by the body alone. If you ignore the wicks for now, if you just look at the body alone, this is a tree bar play you have here. So we're hoping for the continuation. And for those that were on the call yesterday, remember we talked about sometimes you get the first break. Sorry, I'm not sure who that is. Sorry, that just threw me off. Yeah, so sometimes you get the first break and it's not strong enough, and then you wait for the second break to give you what you're looking for. That's what we've gotten here. So now we believe that we're in a good that our firm obviously has run for weeks. I mean for days rather weeks probably. Jay and the rest have been nailing it for a while. So I'll look at what it does tomorrow as well. But I kind of like what I see at this point for a firm. Then I'm looking at Apple as well. Similar to the other ones, we've had a couple of lower highs and higher. Nope, that's not a lower high. Sorry, that's an error. Yeah, so I have higher highs here. Why did it say so? So we had some lower lows, lower highs and lower highs, on this one. We've had some higher highs as well, and everything has been using in this case the 200 on the daily. So the uptrend looks like it's gonna continue. We've had the pullback we wanted to see, and now Apple has dropped back to this spot. It's dropped back to this spot, and in this spot we've now had our sideways movement and our first breakout. So depending if Apple opens above here tomorrow, we know that we're running. It's so it's done everything we want to do. It's gone up, it's come down, it's gone up, it's come down, it's gone up, it's come down again, which is we talk about the movement of price, sideways up, sideways down. This is our sideways, this is our up now. So we should expect to see some positive play for Apple this week. So That's that one. Like I said, this is just my 5 minutes Apple, which I just have the I need to set some more stuff on it, but so that's what I'm definitely looking at for a possible for that I think is in a good place to give us something this week. I've got Oracle as well, very much like the previous one. Lots of lower highs on Oracle, and if I reduce it here as well, if I just do this, you can see where it came from. So we've been having lower highs from Oracle for a while. And now, not only did we have a lower high for Oracle, but it broke past this key area here, which trying to enlarge. It broke past this key spot. This area here was an area of congestion for it, so it's been a difficult area for it, and now it's finally gotten past that area. So it looks like we're in a positive place with Oracle, and that showed on the Friday chart because you can see how the Friday chart went. It ran up all the way here, and then we had this movement. So looking for continuation as well. Like I said, these are plays that we're already in. Just looking for continuation of what they do this week. I'll look at Baba quickly. I've not done that one. Baba, like I said, it was another one we took a lot on last week. We've had our lower lows here, but now for the very first time since, because if you look at it, Baba has been dropping badly since, maybe March. It's just been on a downward hill. It's not been consistent. Even when we have a little run up, it pulls back, little run up, pulls back, run up. So we've been having that. So now here I'm trying to see if, and that might still be the same thing, which is why we're not jumping into it yet, because we need to see if this ends up going higher than here. If this goes higher than here, then we know that um we have a new higher high, and then that tells us that there's possibility that a change in direction is taking place. For now, we're just trying to see if if it opens up above here, then we know that we could get a play between here, which is 167 and 177. So there's a lot to still happen here before we have the confidence of taking buyback consistently, but it's definitely one on my watch list. I'll look at quickly Baidu as well. Very much like Baba, and a couple of those also. Watching it kind of slight breakout. We'll see if it can get over here. If it goes over 170, then we know that okay, the reversal is taking place because we've had our first lower high here, which is great. So now we need to have a higher high somewhere around there. If we get a higher high here, we know that the reversal is taking place. I know you talked about AMC. AMC was one, or S. Dot talked about AMC. AMC is one that I'm also looking at. You've got your higher low, all the way down here, and then you've got your lower high here. I mean your higher high here, your lower high, your lower high. So we've seen that consistent move here. But at the same time, I'm using in this one, I'm analyzing using what we call the broadening formation. Most of us are used to, most charts we draw, we tend to draw charts like flags and wedges and all, but sometimes it's not only about prices meeting at a tight spot. Sometimes it's also saying, okay, how wide can price run? What range, what's the breadth of space from start to finish that price can go. That's what the broadening formation literally tells you, that it could go from, unlike whereby you're trying to go to zero in a flag, you're trying to get price to get to that extremely tight point, which I refer to as point zero, so that you can get a breakout up or down. Broadening formation, it's literally saying, what about we look at where price can go between 0 to 100. So over here, this is the range which price can go, this range here at this point. It's come down here, it's gotten its lower high here, and we've got your higher high. So I will not be surprised if we start seeing this move up again this week. So I've got my eye on it. Obviously, you have some soft targets here and all the rest, but I think MC is one that could definitely make a run for it anytime from now. If not this week, next week. But I think there's a play for AMC this week. hopefully. But if not this week, there's something there for it. And lastly, I just pulled this one up. I've not really done much work on it. WMT, Walmart. I'm just analyzing it. No, I've not put anything on it. I was looking at this one literally before I jumped on this call. So I don't have much opinion on it now. Yes, we've got a few lower highs here. If you look at this is kind of they're both. I think it might see something like a double bottom here. Yes, a lower high here, but between these two, there's something like a double bottom forming there, which also then makes me want to look at it to say, okay, if that's a double bottom that we're having here in this zone, because think of it like a zone, don't think of it like a line. Between 134 and 157.9, there's a zone there, and let me just draw it for myself. Sorry, guys. It's always easier to do this so I don't forget. So I know that this is a zone of interest. Prices up. There's a demand zone, so it's come out here and we've bought it. So now it's to see how far we're buying, how far the buyers will push this up. So we know that this is where we have that here, and I also know that there's something around here that's been a sell-off point a little bit. So I'm gonna do this. Yeah, I've already drawn a line there actually. I didn't do, yeah, I'll do that. So I'm just watching this to see if it can get there though. It's at 139 now. We might have a run up to 142, and if it goes past 142, then I think there's a much larger room for it to go. But it's definitely one that I've been looking at. One that I've started looking at, and I think there's something here for Walmart between here and here. It's at 139. I've got this at 152. There's a spot here around 143 for Walmart. So it's definitely one that I'm looking at. And like I said, there's just the 15 minutes of this. This is just for tomorrow. I just put it there for tomorrow, not for anything. But on the daily, I definitely think I've got enough charts to keep me busy this week with these ones I've just analyzed. And that's it from me.
Looks like Tommy had a few. I can do it unless you want to look at some things for Tommy T.
No, you can do it. It's all right, sir.
Yeah.
I'll stop. Thank you. Trying to find this stuff is hidden on my.
So it looks like, I think of these, we already went over Oracle, AMD, so Coin, NVIDIA, and Peloton. Can I grab the share?
Oh, yes, please.
Right.
I was
No,
looking
yeah,
for
I
it.
just wasn't sure if you, yeah, I got it now. Can you guys see my screen?
You're good, Jay.
Cool.
Yeah, we can.
All right, so Coin. What are we on? 5 year, oh yeah, because Coin just IPO'd. So basically, I like Coin. It's been building this base here at around 217, 220 area, and like T said, they're all zones. So it's really just been building in this area for its whole life, almost, since May. Finally started to break out of it. So we've got a trend line here that it's going to fight with a little bit. But it is broke above the 50-day the past couple days. Friday, it came back beneath it. So if we can get tomorrow, ideally, a push above the 50-day back into this 250, low 250s, low to mid 250 area, that'll be really bullish to see a test of this line. But in any case, I think Coin is probably a better longer term hold, simply because if it starts to pull back here, we could get sucked right. If it doesn't actually break out soon, we could get sucked right back into this demand area, and it could just keep building. These 2 days, or these 3 days really breaking out of this has been really encouraging for Coin if you're bullish. It's just this last, Friday just kind of puts it right back into a little bit of no man's land. But I like to see these remounts, so if this can remount the 50-day and start moving up quickly, the faster it does it, the less and less this day will matter. So if we can get a remount on the 50 and start and get into the mid 250s on Monday, that would be a very bullish sign. Then we're looking at 280 as the next real resistance, 295, 300 area as 300 is a natural large number, and then it could just be off to the races, really. Bitcoin has a lot to do with crypto. So if crypto decides it doesn't that it doesn't want to keep on this run, and actually we should probably look at it. I don't have actual BTC, but the futures will work. I mean, it's kind of basing out right here. Had a great day. And T was, I know T has been basically screaming at people. This golden cross right here. It's very bullish, So I know this is probably off compared to where BTC actually crossed, because these are the futures, but the patterns, all the price action here should look basically the same. But coin is very much riding on Bitcoin and crypto in general coattails. So getting a nice little flag here, and Bitcoin, we could get a nice little run in things like in a name like Coin, and then all the other usual suspects, Mara, and that's really the only Bitcoin name I can think of off the top of my head. But Hut, we could start to see good runs in that. What was the other one that you had, Tommy? Terrible memory. NVIDIA and Peloton. So NVIDIA here, we go to a blank chart. So this is not necessarily triple, but just a zone that it broke out of, and we can see once it broke out, it came back to retest again and again, dumped it. But this is kind of what I was talking about with coin and remount. So it dumped that support level, or which was a resistance level, and then became a support level, but immediately remounted it the next day, and then took another day to show bullish strength. So immediate short term, we are looking a little bullish, but the problem here is it just came to the 50-day, tried to touch the 20-day and rejected, came back to the 50-day, rejected. So this little red curve is the ADMA. So I use that as short-term strength, like really short-term strength. So I would expect, if it wants to hold the 8 right here, we'll see a small bounce. And it's going to have to build, because now it's got the 20 curling down above it, and the 50 kind of starting to curl over as well. So if it can break up 215 area, it can really start to run. It's a bit of a no man's land, and so you could kind of play this both ways, where break beneath 206, 207 into 206. We can get a fall back down here to 204 and probably 200. If we get a move up to 214, then we have a lot of room to run up into the 230s. So it just basically is, what's it going to do here at this point? And once it picks its direction, we can play it either way. And Peloton, I have to scroll back. I mean, Peloton's been broken. I called it a while back. I don't even have the proper chart on it. think I called it around here, and it's basically died ever since. These 2 days were I believe when it announced that it was coming out with its own clothing line, and it had a nice little run, but looks like cooler heads have prevailed and realized that it's probably not a big deal for their business, and have been basically just trying to kill it since around here when I thought it was going to break up. Earnings died, kind of bullshit news died, and it just came right back down to here. So if you've got, we could have a bit of a double bottom look right here, or we can have a big gigantic H. So, I think your easier play is to wait till it breaks 80, and we could get a run back to 73 or so, 70 or so, and then 60, 50, into the 48s. I think you're probably going to have a harder time trying to play this going up. There's a lot of resistance here, so we're going to find natural $100 resistance. We've got the 20 MA, 50 MA, all really starting to move down. Got the 200 MA has been starting to curl down over the past couple weeks. So if you're bullish on it, I would just wait, and I would almost really wait till we get into the 120s. I mean, there's probably some quick dollars to be made depending on what happens here, but you're asking a lot to see if this is a double bottom, and by the rules of a double bottom, this is your neckline anyway. So it's not even a completed double bottom until we get over 127, 128 here. So where we want to try and make it as easy as possible. And this busting through 3 levels of just moving averages, as well as all this congestion here, is going to be a lot harder than just breaking down and moving down. So if you are bullish on it, just be aware it's got a lot of work to do. If you're bearish on it, it's probably going to be a little bit easier to make some money.
Jay, if I just add to that,
Yeah.
lots of times, and I hear this, we all say, "Oh, we only play A1 setups and all the rest." If you're looking to make money, you can make money from Peloton, but it's not an A1 setup. So you have to make the decision: are you willing to take that risk to trade something that you might, if you want to go for a call, for example, that you might make some money? Because if it starts running up, yes, you can see all the lines there in between. You could make some money there, but the setup is not A1. It's not a setup that you're looking at and you're like, yeah, this is where I'm putting my money for this week, 100% or something. This doesn't scream that, because I have Peloton as well. I'm looking at everything Jay said, and I agree with him. So if you want to take the play, there is money to be made here. You can make the money, but you're not. If your principle is I only trade A1 setups, this is not an A1 setup. So you have to admit that to yourself and acknowledge it, then decide to take the play. But this is not one that was screaming and saying, "Oh, get in," because we're 100% certain that it's gonna break out the resistance and make you your money. So it's just something to be aware of, something to know for yourself, and decide if what you want to do with that information.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and this, unless you're a big double bottom guy and this somehow matches one of your A1 setups, there's a lot of work here. Yeah, and T's 100% right. And that's why I was kind of saying, like, your easier money on this is to the downside. If you're bullish on Peloton in the long term, though, yeah, I mean, you're getting it at a discount of, where it was trading at 171, and you're getting it basically half the price. So, if these are the spots where you want to look at shares, or leaps, where it's beaten down, and if you've got a really, really long-term bullish view. But yeah, there's money to be made both ways, but the easier money on this is going to be on the downside. I'll do a couple more. There were a few more in here. Baidu, Roku, and Love. I hate the Chinese stocks, so I'm gonna stay away from Baidu. Roku. I mean, Roku looks exactly like Peloton. It looks like a lot of different stocks. I mean, basically, it's had this nice, beautiful run from March to March, roughly. March, like a 1 year run, like every other stock did, and now it's basing off of that run. It's digesting that whole thing. It's roughly playing. It's just trading within this area, so yeah, like it looks like, I know I always say, and I love to poke fun of me on it, there's no such thing as a triple bottom. So if you're one of the guys that like triple bottoms, then yeah, and just the way it's played out in the zone, yeah, we're probably going to get a bounce somewhere into here, maybe up to here, but it's got a lot of work to do to break out of this area. If you're like me and you don't like triple bottoms, then you're basically staring at this 1, 2, 3, but now it violated. So, it's just a no man's land. Ideally, I would have loved to see this day never happen. Just stay above this 20 MA and we could get a nice little flush. But now we're right back out of the triple tap zone, into no man's land, into more no man's land, into more no man's land. Roku's always good for moves out of nowhere. So if you can catch it, this will give you days and days worth of scalping and worth of day trades. It's just going to have issues if you really are looking for a nice move, 20, 30, 40 point move over a few days or weeks. You're probably not going to get it, at least to the upside, or at least not to the upside, excuse me. Southwest. I haven't looked at Southwest in a long time. So we had a nice curl. So after $64 highs, pre-Delta basically, we built it. It's built a nice little base in this $48 to $50 area here. Finally curled out and broke out. Now it's just it's probably looking like it's going to start to build a nice little base here. So if we get a nice tighter base here between this 50, 53 area, can get above the 200 day and actually really just, I'd love to see it to build in this tight area, 53, 56. We could get another run up to 63. Problem though is we've got earnings 10/21. How many people traveled this summer? Do we get enough traveling this summer? What's their outlook past this summer? Everybody, we all lost a year from just leaving the house. So everybody that could get out of the house probably went somewhere this summer. So their numbers are going to look probably pretty fucking great. But what are we looking at past that? This is, a week out. So we could get a run up, a couple weeks out, 2 weeks out. So, for the immediate term, and if you're looking to see if we can get a run into earnings, which wouldn't surprise me, it needs to get back above the 200 day and hold into the 55 area here. If we can get a couple days of hold, we can get a nice little run to 56, maybe even up to 58 before earnings. But I wouldn't, just like everything with earnings, I wouldn't play anything past that until it decides what it wants to do post earnings. But this is a nice look. This is a really nice look for a bullish stock, as well as, it's just flagging it. Just, the biggest knock against this right here is it dumped the 200 day. If it could have stayed above that, would have been give you a really, really nice case for a nice little run into earnings here. And then I will do Baidu, just because I feel bad that I didn't. And this is just building a base here. in this area now. China's been so in flux with news being bullish on, America's being bullish on China, America's being bearish on China. It doesn't know what it wants to do. T's perfect at this. This kind of looks like a T money setup here, where it's now based, popped up above the 20, and starting to move with some momentum on Friday.
Yeah, I thought I talked about Baidu. That's why I was like laughing.
And
I
this
actually
looks
thought,
like a T money play right here.
yeah, I definitely talked about Baidu earlier on.
Oh, I'm sorry if you did. I missed it.
No, you
I
didn't.
apologize.
Yeah, I know. It's all right. I did. And you're right. It's one of the plays that this catches my attention. So it definitely is on my list for this week. But go on with your analysis. It's literally the same thing I was saying.
All right. But yeah, that's all I've got. S, you got anything else to add?
Nope, I don't have anything. I think that's pretty good for now. As always, if anybody wants to reach out to us for other stuff, we're happy to do stuff in the chat. If anybody's not from Gold Rush, go to goldrushgang.net and join us. We got a 7-day trial. And other than that, I'm looking for another good week for us in Gold Rush. Thanks, everybody.
Exactly. Thanks, S. Have a great week. We'll see you in the server later tonight or tomorrow.